Imagine this. Thousands and thousands of years ago, humans faced this just epic, perilous journey.
Hmm.
They're crossing a vast, ice-covered Bering Strait, heading into, well, a totally unknown continent, the Americas.
An incredible
It's
undertaking.
just incredible courage, right? Pushing the absolute boundaries of survival. But what if they carried a kind of secret weapon, something ancient deep in their DNA that actually helped them survive this brand new world?
And that's pretty much the extraordinary question we're tackling in our deep dive today.
Exactly.
We're looking at some really groundbreaking research. It was published in Science from the University of Colorado Boulder study. Fernando Villania led it with David Peed from Brown as co-lead.
Okay.
And their findings suggest exactly that a piece of DNA from an extinct ancient relative might have played this really crucial role in adapting to the challenges. I mean, a completely new environment.
So our mission today is to unpack how this little understood gene passed down through what sounds like a fascinating genetic sort of telephone game became a key to survival.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And this study, it seems like it does more than just add a piece to the migration puzzle, right? It feels like it reshapes how we think about our ancestors surviving extreme conditions. It suggests adaptation wasn't just cultural, but like deeply biological.
Absolutely. It's about both working together.
So hopefully by the end, you'll see how these tiny genetic echoes from millennia ago hold keys to huge historical events. It's an incredible leap in understanding human adaptation resilience. Let's dive in.
Okay, so to really get this genetic journey, we first need to meet some of our very mysterious ancient relatives, the Denisovans.
The Denisovans.
They're an extinct species of hominin. That's the group including us and our immediate ancestors. And honestly, their existence is still remarkably poorly understood.
And when you say poorly understood, it's amazing how recent this is. Scientists only found the first known Denisovan, like 15 years ago?
That's right, just 15 years. From DNA in a tiny, tiny bone fragment found in a cave way out in Siberia.
Incredible. So what did we learn from that first find? And what has genomics told us since then?
Well, physically, what little we can guess suggests they probably had, prominent brows, maybe no chins, a bit like Neanderthals in some ways.
Okay.
But as Fernando Villania, one of the researchers, puts it, and I think this is really telling, we know more about their genomes and how their body chemistry behaves than we do about what they looked like.
Wow, that really says something about the power of DNA analysis, doesn't it?
It really does. Genomics opens up this whole other window.
So beyond what they looked like, you mentioned something really intriguing, their interbreeding. They didn't just keep to themselves.
Not at all. They mixed it up with both Neanderthals and early modern humans.
Okay, and how significant was that mixing? Does it still, show up today?
Oh, profoundly significant. This interbreeding really shaped the biology of people living today. I mean, think about this. Denisovan DNA makes up as much as 5% of the genomes of people from Papua New Guinea.
5%? That's huge. A massive genetic echo from tens of thousands of years ago.
Exactly.
Huh.
Still very much present.
Okay, so let's narrow the focus. This study zooms in on one specific gene, MUC19.
MUC19, yes.
What is MUC19? Why is it so important here, especially if, as you say, its function has been a bit of a mystery?
Right. So MUC19 is one of about 22 genes mammals have that produce something called mucins.
Mucins.
That's the proteins that actually make mucus. And, mucus might not sound glamorous.
No, not really.
But it plays a really critical role. It's vital for the immune system, forms a protective barrier, helps guard our tissues against, pathogens, bacteria, viruses.
Okay, so it's protective.
Very. But here's the catch. MUC19's specific job in the human body has been, about as mysterious as the Denisovans themselves, actually. One researcher said, we're only starting to understand these genes, even though it seems like MUC19 has a lot of functional consequences for health. And the key thing for this study, Denisovans carried their own unique version, their own variant of the MUC19 gene with a distinct set of mutations.
Got it. So mysterious Denisovans, mysterious MUC19 gene. And now the big connection the study makes. Humans with indigenous American ancestry are more likely to carry a version of MUC19 that came from Denisovan.
Exactly. That's the core finding.
How on earth did Denisovan DNA become so common in the Americas? Weren't the Denisovans mostly found, way over in Asia, Siberia?
This is where that brilliant Oreo analogy from Villania comes into play.
The Oreo analogy, right. Explain that.
He describes this specific chunk of DNA as being like an Oreo with a Denisovan center and Neanderthal cookies.
Okay, Denisovan Center Neanderthal cookies. I think I get it. It visualizes the layering, doesn't it?
It does, beautifully. It illustrates this really complex inheritance trail.
So just to make sure I'm following and everyone listening is the Denisovan bit of DNA is sort of nested inside a larger chunk of Neanderthal DNA.
Precisely. You've got it.
That's quite a genetic handoff. Can you break down those layers a bit more?
Sure. So the specifically Denisovan parts 9 distinct mutations, what they call non-synonymous variants, meaning they change the protein structure. They're found in a relatively small 72 kilobase region of the MUC19 gene.
Okay, 72 kilobase in Denisovan.
But that 72 kilobase region is itself embedded within a much larger 742 kilobase region. And that larger region contains Neanderthal-specific variants.
Wow, so it really is layered Denisovan inside Neanderthal.
Exactly. It's a specific segment of DNA carrying layers of ancient heritage. And this structure points towards a proposed evolutionary journey, this kind of multi-step genetic telephone game we mentioned earlier.
Okay, lay out the steps of this telephone game for us. How did this Oreo get made and passed along?
All right, step 1. Based on this evidence, long before humans crossed the Bering Strait, Denisovans interbred with Neanderthals. And in that process, they passed on their MUC19 variant to the Neanderthals.
And that's significant in itself, right? I think you mentioned this is the first time scientists have seen DNA jump directly from Denisovans to Neanderthals.
Precisely. That's a major finding on its own. So that's the first handover.
Okay, step 1, Denisovan to Neanderthal. What's step 2?
Step 2. Later on, these Neanderthals now carrying that Denisovan MUC19 chunk bred with early modern humans. So they shared some of this DNA, including the nested Denisovan bit.
Yeah.
Modern humans essentially got this genetic package from Neanderthals, who in turn had gotten it from Denisovans.
Okay, so Neanderthals were the intermediaries here.
This seems like it for this particular gene variant.
And then step 3 is the migration.
Step 3, those humans, now carrying this specific genetic package, what scientists call an introgressed haplotype.
Introgressed haplotype, got it. Meaning it transferred between species and then spread?
Yes. Those humans migrated to the Americas, carrying this complex Oreo of DNA with them. It's a truly remarkable journey across species, continents, and vast stretches of time.
It really is staggering to think about. So this unique DNA arrives in the Americas. What happened then? Did it just stay there?
Well, this is where it gets even more interesting. It seems natural selection strongly favored the spread of this borrowed MUC19 variant after people arrived in the Americas.
Favored it, meaning it provided some kind of advantage.
That's the strong implication. While the exact why isn't totally nailed down yet, think about it. The first people in the Americas faced conditions unlike anything else in human history.
Totally new world.
Exactly. New landscapes, new climates, but also, crucially, new kinds of food and diseases, completely different pathogens than they'd encountered before.
Right. That must have been a huge shock to their system. So are you saying this Denisovan DNA might have given them, like, additional tools to handle those new threats?
That seems to be the most likely explanation. It suggests their bodies were adapting at a biological level over thousands of years, perhaps 20,000 years or more. This biological adaptation was happening right alongside all the cultural innovations, like new ways to hunt, new ways to farm, new technologies.
Yes, it's not just culture, it's biology adapting, too. Do we see evidence for this selection?
Oh, yes. Clear evidence, both in modern people and ancient remains.
Okay, tell us about that.
So, for example, about 1 in 3 modern people of Mexican ancestry carry a copy of this specific Denisovan variant of MUC19.
1 in 3, that's quite high.
It is. And significantly, it's found mainly in the parts of their genome that come from their indigenous American heritage.
Right. And how does that compare to other populations?
It contrasts really sharply with, say, people of Central European ancestry. There are only about 1% carry this variant.
1% versus roughly 33%? That's a huge difference.
A massive difference, suggesting strong positive selection in the Americas.
And you mentioned ancient remains, too.
Yes, and this is crucial. The researchers looked at DNA from 23 ancient indigenous American individuals, people who lived before any significant mixing with Europeans and Africans.
Okay, so pre-contact populations.
Exactly. And they found this archaic MUC19 haplotype, the Denisovan Neanderthal one, at its highest frequency in these ancient individuals.
Wow. So that really confirms its deep history in the Americas. It wasn't something introduced later. It was there from early on and seemingly beneficial.
Precisely. It shows the adaptation was happening right from those early migrations.
Was there anything else about the gene itself in modern populations? Any other changes?
Yes, another fascinating layer. They discovered that modern admixed American individuals, people with mixed indigenous, European, and African ancestry, show something else interesting at MEC 19. They have an elevated number of what are called variable number tandem repeats, or VNTRs, within this gene.
Re-NTRs. Okay, what are those in simple terms?
Think of it like extra repeating units within the gene's code, like adding extra identical links into a specific part of a chain.
Okay, like genetic stuttering, almost, but functional.
Sort of, yeah. And they describe it as a massive coding VNTR expansion that happens specifically on this ancient introgressed DNA background.
And does that expansion do anything?
It seems highly likely.
Yeah.
These VNTRs are in the part of the gene that codes for the functional domain of the MUC19 protein, specifically where it binds to sugars, which is important for its role in mucus.
Ah, so the part that likely interacts with pathogens or the environment.
Exactly. This suggests a powerful functional change occurred on top of inheriting the ancient variant, potentially fine-tuning or enhancing its protective role in the new American environments.
So we have the inheritance, the selection, and then even further adaptation on that genetic background. It's incredibly complex.
It really paints a picture of dynamic evolution.
So stepping back, what's the big takeaway here? What does this all mean for how we understand human evolution, maybe even for us today?
Well, according to Villania, the lead researcher, this study is fundamentally a testament to the power of human evolution. He calls what indigenous American populations accomplished really incredible, and it highlights this astonishing resilience.
It really does. When you think about the journey, going, as the study says, from a common ancestor living around the Bering Strait to adapting biologically and culturally to this new continent,
Yeah.
that has every single type of biome in the world, from Arctic tundra to tropical rainforests. That adaptability is just mind-blowing.
It is. It showcases incredible ingenuity and resilience on every level, biological adaptation hand in hand with cultural adaptation.
And for you listening right now, this deep dive, it really reveals how these ancient genetic legacies, things passed down from relatives who've been extinct for tens of thousands of years, can still be shaping our health or survival today.
Absolutely. It showcases the incredible resilience and adaptability that's literally encoded in our DNA. It's not just some abstract ancient history. It's potentially part of your own personal story. Whether you carry this specific gene variant or not, it speaks to the broader human story.
So just to recap everything we've covered, we've traced how this specific chunk of Denisovan DNA, a variant of the MUC19 gene, made this incredibly complex journey.
Through Neanderthals first.
Right, through Neanderthals, then into modern humans, and eventually proving, it seems, really critical for the survival and adaptation of the first peoples venturing into the entirely new world of the Americas.
And that journey, the path of this MUC19 gene, crossing species boundaries, persisting through millennia,
Yeah.
it doesn't just highlight our deeply interconnected evolutionary past.
No, it also shows how dynamic our own biology is, doesn't it?
Exactly. How our bodies are constantly adapting, interacting with, and being shaped by the environments we inhabit. Even now, evolution hasn't stopped.
Which leaves us with a final thought to mull over. What other ancient genetic whispers, maybe from Denisovans, maybe from Neanderthals, maybe from other groups we haven't even discovered yet, might still be shaping your life, your health, your resilience in ways we're only just beginning to uncover?
Something to think about. Our genomes are like living history books still being read.